right, we're here with Scott Moore, Matt Webb.
Yeah.
We're calling this the highlight reel. We have got one of a local. This is a multi-sport star.
It's an athlete.
But to tell you what, if you're going to classify this guy as anything, you can't give him a position. Obviously, he's got a position, but this kid is a man-child. I was talking with my brother before I came over here.
Yeah.
He goes, "Who you interviewing?" I said, he goes, "That guy's a man-child."
So he knows him.
Well, he knows him. He's like,
Yeah.
we all live vicariously through Twitter and through Facebook.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so there you are. But this is Leo Bonifacio. Did I get it right?
Yeah, that's perfect.
I tell you what, man. A name like Leo Bonifacio, you either got to be really good or you got to answer a lot of questions of why you weren't that good.
Leo, that's the first name he's gotten right in a long time. He messed up Jones last week.
Whatever. Okay, so a quick intro.
Yeah.
I want to ask you some questions just to build out your profile because, obviously we want to get a good interview on this, but we also want to make sure that we get good information for potential suitors, and we're going to talk about recruiting here in a second.
Okay.
What's your date of birth?
December 31st, 2003.
Okay. Height?
6'2".
6'2". Weight?
220.
We almost weigh the same.
I weigh more.
I
weighed 100 less in high school.
Yeah. Okay. What positions?
So this upcoming year, I'm going to play like a hybrid between a defensive end and like an outside linebacker. I'm going to be rushing a lot, but I'm also going to be going in coverage. So it's kind of like a new defensive scheme we're making this year.
So it's almost like the star position.
Basically, yeah.
Nickelback.
It's like a Lawrence Taylor, like a Von Miller type of thing.
Yeah.
Low
bar you're setting there.
I was starting to say. I said Nickelback. He said no, LT.
Yeah, just like him.
Just like LT. Von Taylor. Okay.
And all the quarterbacks he's about to play are scary.
No kidding. No kidding. All right, here we go. 40 time.
4.8. That's what I ran this past summer.
Did you ever break 5?
Hold on, Leo. What's your 40 time?
Okay. I was thinking about this on the way over because I know I was going to ask the question.
For us, your 40 time is what you ran when you're 40 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 40.
Not 40.
I was just under 40 minutes. Stop twice for dinner. All right, what's your squat?
400.
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so I'm looking at you. You are a chiseled dude. I mean, you get the V shape for all the women out there listening to me. He's a good-looking kid.
Yeah. You said prospects.
Thank
you. Were we talking about schools or what?
This is school. This is school.
Okay. What's your best bench? I put up 270.
I can do 225.
I put up 270 over my life.
But I don't take. They don't. My trainer doesn't take me to because I'm
I've done
old,
270 total when you add it together.
Oh,
that's a lot.
Okay, so before we started, we were talking about some of your family history. You've got an athletic family. I mean, first off, your mom. We've got a history of your mom.
That's who we know.
Yeah, we know your mom from back in the high school days. Fantastic baller. But this is kind of a DNA thing with your family, right?
Yeah. So my dad, he only played sports in high school, but he was really focused on like work and his education. So he never really like pursued it as much as like my mom did. So but my uncle Mike, he was like a power lifter, and I forget his max bench, but he powerlifted for a little bit. And then obviously my uncle Doug, her brother, he played football, and that's kind of been like my inspiration. Like I work out with him a lot, and like he helps me with a lot of stuff, and we'll watch like film together and stuff like that.
Some people are born being just a athletic weightlifting type.
You're just
guy.
a strong guy. You were just born that way.
Well, like I remember when it really started when I was like 9 is when I started my like athletic career, because before that I was like into art and like reading and stuff like that before football. But then I just fell in love with it when I was 9, and like I was like, I want to go to the NFL. Like I'll train as hard as possible to get there, and that really made me into what I am today.
I knew when we were going to talk to him, I was thinking one of the things we need to say is we always talk about and we always rag on this generation, his generation, and how disappointing they are because they're always on their phones, they're always doing Snapchat. But this is just an example of why that's wrong. We really tend to just kind of throw everyone in the same category and say kids are not interested in these things these days.
Well, it's too bad.
But what is? Yeah, I mean, kids don't want to go outside anymore, but he's definitely one of the exceptions to the rule. He's working hard to get where he wants to be, and that's big.
So we're going to talk about hard work here in a few minutes, but you have been an all-state player in 2 sports,
Yes,
which I think is fascinating because you have these ultra-focused coaches these days that want nothing of 2-sport guys.
Yeah.
They want you to be so locked in to be in one sport that you don't have any type of time because schedules and just workout regimens that you're only a one sport guy.
That's why I love my coach right now, Coach Mesky, because he stresses to play as many sports as possible.
When did that change?
I don't know, but I mean he's been coaching forever. Like this upcoming season will be his 37th year, I think.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the old things, just play as many sports as possible. But I don't really know where that new I guess it's because so many kids from a really young age should start specializing in it.
Yeah.
And it's the parents. Let's be real.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, parents.
It's the parents
The
who are
parents
like,
can
my
straight
kid
up
is going to
ruin
play
this.
this sport, and a lot of times it's parents who didn't really play a lot of sports growing up because we knew that you're better to play as much stuff as you can because you pick up all kinds. You pick up technique and you pick up
Okay, so that's a really good point.
I have a
good
lot of them.
segue.
Yeah.
You're a wrestler. You're an all-state wrestler.
Yes, sir.
Weight class, you're heavyweight, right?
I wrestled 195 last year, but I'm wrestling heavyweight this year, which is 285. Just because I want to be 230 by football season this year.
Wow.
235.
So you don't want to worry about your weight when you're wrestling.
Yeah.
But all the lessons that you learn when you're training in wrestling, it carries over really seamlessly to the football field.
It's the best sport to play if you want to improve in football tackling form, because when you're shooting, it's literally the same, almost the same exact form as football tackling.
Yeah.
So if someone were to come to you and say, "All right, Leo, love you, but you got to choose one sport,"
football,
really,
all day. Yeah.
But those people would be stupid because what he's talking about. Think about that. Not only the tackling, but think about the moves you have to make on an offensive lineman when you're rushing the passer. It's the same as getting out of an attack or something from your opponent in wrestling, which I've never done, by the way. I've watched WWE, which is not the same wrestling. But I think it's the same thing. I think you're trying to avoid the block in football.
The thing about wrestling, it's probably the hardest sport I've ever played, just because the conditioning is insane. By the end of the season, I can run 3 miles and barely be winded. That's insane.
insanity.
Yeah, conditioning is crazy. Sometimes we'll go 45 minutes of just pure conditioning and 0 breaks. I remember we'll do this one thing called Sharks, and you go 7 minutes live, which is you're actually wrestling somebody. You're not just doing drills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we'll do that 3 times. And I went with my buddy Brick, who's a 220, and with both of my coaches. And my coach, Coach Heron, he's 30 and he's 250 and he looks like a albino gorilla basically. He's huge. Yeah. And then my coach Fahum, he's really good too. And so they'll just it's awful, the conditioning. I go immediately to sleep when I get home.
Did they ever run you till you puke?
I have puked multiple times.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Nothing like it.
Yeah.
As in nothing worse. I've done it a couple of times myself. So let's talk for a few minutes about sports goals. Mm-hmm. You're a junior. You're going to go into your to your final year of high school, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but you've already made All-State. Mm-hmm. You're an All-State, 2-sport guy. Mm-hmm. Where do you go? What is your goal? You've already done it, right?
Well, that's the thing. I try to set these outlandish goals. You know what? I'm gonna try to be an All-American this year. That's what I wrote in my notes before the season started.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to pursue being an All-American linebacker this year. And if I don't get there, I'll still reach for the stars. But if you're not there, you'll still be up there, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And so that's how I made All-State, I think. It's just I I pursued All-American, and even though I didn't get there, I was able to get All-Region, All-State, and then Defensive Player of the Year, co-Defensive Player of the Year for the region.
In the
Still
region.
really good.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. So when you get to that level and you are preparing for the next season, because you got a full next season to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, you already got your notebook out. You're writing your goals. I mean, how do you hold yourself accountable as a 17-year-old to goals you've already reached, but then you've got all these things in your life that are distractions, girls, cars. How do you stay focused?
Just discipline. I just gotta. I mean, a lot of help from my mom. She keeps just telling me, "Hey, that just focus on football, focus on school, focus on God and going to church and all that."
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like really grateful to have her as my mom, because she's helped me so much with that. Yeah, just the discipline, and then I just have to find it in myself too. Like just from her helping me, I still have to find it in myself to really want to do it. And you got to be passionate about it too. If you're not passionate about it, you won't wake up at 4:30 5 days a week and work out. And you have to be passionate about what you're doing. So
totally agree. So write me a script here. Where is you're being recruited at this point, right?
Yes, sir.
Where is the one school that if someone said, all right, you just got the letter, you're in if you want it?
It'd have to be either Auburn or Clemson, because I've gone to the Clemson football camp like the past 4 years, and I love just the attitude, the climate, and the campus is beautiful. And Dabo Swinney's a really, really good guy too.
He's one of those guys that you almost love to hate him because he's such a normal guy.
Yeah.
Also a really good football coach, by the way.
We just hate him because we don't have him here.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Are you kidding
It hurts my heart to hear his choices, but I totally understand him.
Totally understand. I wouldn't want my kid to go to UT right now.
Exactly, and that's terrible, but still.
So you got Auburn.
Tennessee, if you're listening, he still likes you.
Exactly. He's not going to go there. But so between the two, you got Auburn, you've got Clemson. Any one that's above the other?
I mean, really, any school that is willing to give me the opportunity to play for them and pay for my college and my academics, I mean, I want to go there.
That's cool. So let's talk, and we'll kind of shift gears here. Career goals, kind of getting out of the sports thing. If it's not in the cards to play sports the rest of your life, Leo, what do you want to do?
So my B plan, if I don't make it in the football area, I'm interested in like a few things. I've recently been interested in like engineering, pursuing like mechanical engineering or something like that, and then also electrical engineering. I think engineering's probably the biggest thing I want to do right now, but I also I like theology and philosophy and stuff like that too. And the thing about that is just I want to be able to make a good living too.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I pursue engineering, I'll be able to make a good living, and I'll also be able to do something I'm passionate about and I love.
All right, we're going to bring your mom in.
Okay.
Is that cool? Can you share a microphone?
Yeah.
Okay, so, Mom, you've done a really good job, obviously, with Leo. But you knew that when we were talking online and saying, hey, we want to do this and bring him on, you said, hey, this guy works harder than any kid I know, and I include myself in that. And then you said, I think it was ... and that sang a lot. Expand on that for us.
Well, being an athlete myself, growing up, I know how hard I worked.
Yeah.
He's worked triple as hard as I'd ever worked.
Really?
And I know what it takes at the D1 level from playing at Georgia State.
Yeah.
And he can do that. He's outworked me as a teen many times over.
Really?
Yeah. And that's when I'm like, I can sit, and I know how hard I worked.
Yeah.
I know what I did in the off season. I know the suicides I ran. I know the days in the gym.
Yeah.
I know the days staying after practice, shooting free throws. And this kid, I mean, during when they went all online in March, when COVID hit, he would get up 4 o'clock, 4:30, get up and run, come in, shower, do his classes all day. He'd go work out at 3:30 and then go work out at 6 o'clock.
You don't see that often.
No.
I mean, I've got kids. You've got kids. You're a little older than your kids are more older than I am.
I have a 15-year-old, so I'm sort of glad she's not here right now.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about and not to lump the praise onto you, Leo, but you don't see this often. I mean, this is kind of this is an example of what you would hope that every kid would do, but no kid does. Right? Is that fair? Mm-hmm. I mean,
I think that's fair. When he said, he wrote these goals down,
mm-hmm.
and if Leo wants to do something, he will put his mind to it, and he'll do whatever it takes to achieve it.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw, and I keep telling him, like, even when he got All-State, it came out, his birthday's December 31st. The All-State came out the morning of his birthday, the announcement
cool.
did. And so I texted him, and I was like, he wasn't even awake yet. He was in Florida with my ex-in-laws, his grandparents.
Uh-huh.
And woke him up. I was like, you made All-State? And he's like, no way. And I was like, yes, you did it. I was like, that hard work paid off. And when you're in the grind and you're doing it, sometimes it's like, I'm working so hard and I'm getting nothing. Like, there's nothing in return here.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, keep your foot to the pedal. Keep pushing. I know when you're in that grind and you can't see it, I was like, but it will pay off. I promise it will pay off. If you keep your foot to the pedal. And that's what I texted him that after I called and congratulated him on his birthday and said, you made All-State. I was like, don't let your foot off the pedal. You got to work as hard as you did to get there, to go beyond that.
It's almost like you don't, if I were an athlete, and I'm not, but if I were an athlete and someone say, what's the worst time you could be an All-State or an All-Pro guy? I would say either my junior year or your second year in the league or your first year in the league, because then you think you got everything. I've been to the top of the mountain. What I can do exactly what I did next year, and I got it again. But really what your mom's saying is, no, you have now set the standard that every single linebacker in the state is putting what you did last year as their standard. So you've actually got to go higher, right?
Yeah, you have to go higher.
I mean, that's tough.
It's tough, but if anybody can do it, he can. Like and I'm a tough critic. I'm not one to be like, and he'll tell you if they sucked at a game, him and his brother play. I'm like, if they sucked, I'll tell them, like, you sucked. Like, you got to get it together. Come on, get out of your head. You're better than that.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first to tell him. But when I know the work he put in, and then to get this award, like, I was like, yes, it paid off.
I tell you, it's funny because you got a brother that plays with you. So you both grew up in the same household. How many pickup games, Mom, did you let Leo and what's your brother's name?
Joey
win?
On basketball?
Yeah.
Oh, never.
There you go.
Why would she let him win?
Oh,
yes.
never.
That doesn't happen.
Listen, I don't care if I'm in a daggum wheelchair.
There's no participation trophies.
I picked up golf when I was in high school. I've never been good at it, but my dad, to this very day, I've never beaten my dad.
Yeah.
He refuses. He's almost a 70-year-old man. This guy can barely get out of a chair.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dad. But he refuses to let me win. But it's almost like what you do psychologically to your son or your child is like you just kind of petting him. Hats off, Mom.
So when did you know? Because I think you sort of know, especially if you've played sports before, you can tell if your kid is really doing this for them or if you're pushing them. And also if they're really going to be, I mean, I think we can look at kids and say, even kids that are our own or others, and say, okay, they're not really going to be, I love them, but they're not going to be great at the sport. Yeah. Clearly, you knew at some point that he had talent and he was into it. When did that start to come about?
Okay, their first year playing football was Joey, my younger son, is the one who wanted to play football. And Leo was like, all right, I guess I'll play too. And then the change in Leo from and this is getting a little family history too. We'd gone through divorce, and I think that was affecting the boys a little bit. And they got into football, and the change in him and Leo was a complete night and day. It made him I feel like it took him from like a broken place to like a warrior.
Yeah.
And for that, I mean, I can't, even if that's all he ever did. And football taught him how to be a man, how to fight, how to mentally be tough. If that's all he ever took from football, I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, his first couple of years, you're filling out Pee Wee football. You don't know. Guys change so much from the time they're 9 to 13, puberty. I mean, you'll see a 9-year-old that's 6 foot tall, and then they don't grow anymore. And then these, or they'll peak when they're 10 or 11.
Right.
And then I feel like Leo was more of a late bloomer, probably about his, I would say 7th grade year.
Yeah.
Is when I felt like, all right, he's got the drive. And like I've told him, you may not be the most athletic, you may not be the most talented, as far as athlete in the room. You may not be the best at agility, you may not be the fastest, but by golly, you better be the hardest worker.
Yeah.
You better be don't let anybody outwork you. That's something nobody can take from you, is your work ethic.
Yeah.
And that's what I've always pounded in his head. I'm like, you may not be getting the recognition. Like a lot of these guys start getting recruited when they're in 7th and 8th grade.
That's
literally.
insane.
It is insane. And you don't know the change in some of these guys from 7th grade to senior year.
Yeah. Right.
And you get all these accolades when you're 7th and 8th grade. And then you got guys like him who are behind the scenes, grind. And you've got the guys that have got the recognition, 7th, 8th grade, even freshman year.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But you got him who's like, he's hungry, and he's grinding, and he's out working, and he's up at 4, and he's working out at 3, he's working out at 6, plus he's doing his, schoolwork.
Yeah.
And just from the time he was probably 7th grade, when that drive kicked in on him to like, I'm going to be the best. I don't care what it takes. I will work as hard as I have to work to get where I need to go.
Yeah, this is so cliche, but think about this and imagine that we're coaches, which would be laughable, but still, probably be a good sitcom.
It would be.
But so, which especially linebacker, because that's like the brains of the defense. It's a quarterback of the defense.
It is the quarterback of the defense.
Sort of the position he plays. Do you want a person that is all talent and probably a little bit uncoachable, has probably been pampered to his whole life because he knows he's good, and is not going to get up at 5:30 because he didn't have to? Or do you want somebody with talent?
Bingo.
Do you want somebody with talent? Linebacker to me is a position that's like wrestling. It's about heart. That's the person you don't want to run through the hole and meet, in my opinion.
So, Leo, transitioning here to people you look up to, that you could look back in the past couple of years when you really started to develop, and you can point to them and say, these are the people, these are the men, these are the women that I shaped my entire being around, and they're one of the reasons I'm here today. Who are those people?
Besides like my Uncle Doug and then my mom and my dad, David Goggins probably.
Okay.
He's this Navy SEAL and also a Green Beret.
Yep.
And he wrote this book called You Can't Hurt Me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the best book I've ever read in my life. Like it inspired me so much. And his story of like he was raised in poverty, he was abused by his dad. He was like 300 pounds, and he went to Navy SEAL train, or he went to like get recruited by in the Navy, and the guy said you have to be 190 pounds in 3 months, and he did it.
Okay, you lost 100 pounds. Was it 100 pounds?
Yeah, 100 pounds.
100 pounds in a 3-month period.
Yeah.
This guy did nothing but work out and run.
Mm-hmm.
It's the if someone were to say, "Hey, this is what this guy did," I would say, "Nah, there's no way."
Yeah.
But
and then
David Goggins' story is amazing.
I've seen the guy's story. Yeah, he's on Twitter too. If you don't know, go ahead and check him out.
I love watching his videos of him running and screaming at you to work harder and stay hard.
Yeah.
And then I mean, yeah, and then my dad also just working so hard to provide for us. That's inspired me too, because he just works so hard to provide for me, my brother, and my sister too.
Cool.
So
excellent. Well, Leo, best of luck to you. We're going to be keeping a watch on you.
Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, going to get this posted and make sure that we get some good reel for you to add to your highlight.
Thank you.
Or whatever you need to do with it. So
thank you.
Good luck. And coaches, if you're out there, go ahead and give your Twitter handle so that if anyone's interested after they hear this or go to your huddle, they can get a hold of you.
My Twitter handle is Bonifacio Leo 865. And you'd probably have to search that up because there's just so many Leo Bonifacios on there. It's hard to find a specific one. But yeah, that's it.
We need to get the Leo Bonifacio.
Yeah. The 865, I finally figured that out as our
area code.
It took me the whole show to figure that out, but I figured it out.
Like you said, I was like, I know exactly what that is our area code. Okay, Mom Christy, Leo, thank you so much for coming on the highlight reel.
Thank you.
Absolutely, and best of luck.
Yep.